What does everyone do but won't admit? Give advice that they don't follow. Ask for advice and don't follow. 100% usually it's to see if you agree with them. If not, oh well. Rehash conversations or plan future ones with people who aren't there. And there's something called maladaptive daydreaming. That is a totally different level where you can go from rehashing conversations and events incessantly trying to find an ideal version, to putting yourself in totally fictive situations and fantasy worlds for hours a day. Shit, I don't drive, so I do a lot of walking. I totally do this, lol. Not really worried about it, because the alternative sounds boring as fuck. I do this all the time, especially when I have long drives. I don't create fantasy worlds, but I do imagine that I'm talking to another person, or an audience, about some topic. It's nice, because I get to basically lecture nobody about my own opinions, which lets me dive into them and understand why I think the way I do. The frustration of realizing I could have used that a good counter-argument in that fight 12 years ago, while in the shower. Judge. We all do it. It's about being intelligent enough to not let that cloud our perspective. Also, sometimes it's okay and even good to judge. Sometimes people are bad for you to be around, and that's important to recognize. Being judgmental is only a bad thing if you're overly so, and or do it for bad reasons, in my opinion. But even with that, yeah, we all do it. My friend was dating some losers, and she tell me their many flaws, but then feel bad for judging them. No. Judge away. Pick their nose and scratch their ass. There was a similar ask a while back and this came up. One user's dad apparently had us saying, "We all pick our noses, it's what we do afterwards that separates us." Wonder if people that have since long disappeared from your life, or you've only met once or twice, from time to time still think about you. Probably so. I know I have. I've also caught up with people I haven't seen in a decade or more who said they thought of me on occasion. Some of these thoughts of others are seemingly random thoughts that have no connection to anything as of recent. What's weird is bumping into them, and them saying, "It's that person I told you about," to someone you don't know. I have a reputation? I'm concerned. Pick sides, physically they don't, but mentally they do. Think about compliments given by someone years ago. When I was a freshman in high school, I had this super shaggy hair until I got frustrated with it and cut it. This girl in my social studies class noticed, lit up, and said, "I can see your face." I forget what I said in response exactly, but I was clearly shy about it, and she went on, "It's a very good thing." It's now 25 years later and I never grew my hair out again. Tried to sing, really good. When I'm alone, I'd be hitting those high notes even though I sound like a dying walrus. My morning voice in the shower, I can hit some damn good bass notes, even the occasional growl. But eventually that voice fades away, my sinuses tighten up in the cold, etc., and I lose all ability to sing. Damn it. Judge people as being horrible human beings for doing things while driving that you excuse as being okay if you yourself do it. Anyone driving faster than me is a maniac. Anyone driving slower than me is a moron. A good saying to keep in mind in all aspects of life, really. And if you're going the same speed, I'm frustrated and just want you to get out of my blind spot. Fantasize about others. The real question would be how many people have fantasized about you. Would it be something you'd want to know? Pretty sure being told 0 would be depressing. I'm an average-looking guy at best, so I don't think I've had anyone fantasize about me. Mildly curious, though. Have you ever fantasized about other people that might consider themselves average? That's such a good observation. Yeah, even about people who would be considered not attractive by general standards. So, maybe someone has fantasized about me. Maybe even someone I've fantasized about. Pick your nose, like it's an effective way to clear when blowing just can't quite do it, but no, it's seen as unnatural. Agreed, although I still feel like it's best to do it in private. I once saw a waitress pick her nose while she was bringing out my plate of food with the other hand. I know we're all human, and it just needs to be done sometimes, but I would much rather not have seen that. Cup your hands over your chest in the shower. Let it fill with water. Then let the water drop all at once. Haven't done this in years. I'll be right back. talk to themselves when they're alone. Because you're in great company. Yes, I'm always agreeing with myself. I don't really talk to myself. I'll talk to my cats though, which probably has the same purpose. I think conversations with myself quite often, just not out loud. Look at their poops in the toilet. Your doctor will tell you that's actually a good habit to get into because it can alert you of any GI problems you might have. My gastro doctor told me to always look before I flush. It saved my husband. He caught a GI problem before it got serious. Exactly. But when I tried to look at other people's poo in the toilet, even when I explain that I'm trying to give them a free medical examination, they're always like, "Get out of my cubicle, creep." As a med student, please look at your poops in the toilet. It's quite hindering when people come with bowel complaints, and they don't know at all what their stool looks like. We're all going longer than 1 week between bedsheet washes. Wait, you're supposed to wash bedsheets every week? I'm genuinely shocked at myself if I do it every month. You're supposed to do every week because the oil, sweat, and dirt build up and can give you acne and other things. But every 2 weeks is fine, or even longer if you shower right before bed. If you want to compromise, you can just wash the pillowcases every week since that's what will increase acne risk the most. I really do change my sheets every week, with occasional exceptions. Getting out of the shower and going to sleep in fresh sheets feels nice. Talk behind people's backs. I made a point of reducing that habit to a bare minimum. Save from toxic asshats, about whom I'll warn people. Either I praise people in their back or I hold my tongue. First off, it actually feels better. Then, it prevents from getting bit in the ass by my own words. And finally, it doesn't get my friends to wonder what I'd say about them when they're not around. Generally a huge life improvement. I try to only say things behind people's backs that I would say to their faces. I'm trying to make an effort not to do this unless I'm saying something positive. That said, it is extremely difficult because it's such a core part of socializing with most people. Home alone farts that rattle the windows and scare the pets. The neighbors' pets. I farted on the farm once, and the cows started walking away from me. I farted so loudly that I scared my cat off the bed. And even win an argument with a stranger from an encounter 3 years ago when you didn't say anything st the time. Dr. Masters, who did famous study on sex back in the 60s, said in an interview that 95% of people admit that they masturbate. The doctor was then asked by the interviewer, "What does this tell you?" And the doctor replied, 5% of people are liars. Don't go to see the doctor when they know they should. I'm doing this right now. I think I have cancer and will die. I can't face it. A lot of people think they have cancer and it's either A, not cancer, or B, an earlier, more easily treatable stage than they thought. It's scary, but it's something you owe yourself to make sure it's at least A or B. Cancer also comes in stages, so you can decide to go on a wild vaki or do something on the bucket list before going down that treatment route if you're worried about seriously changing your life course. Bottom line is the treatments have become way better, and we have done a better job at detecting it early too, so the sooner you get checked out the better and more at peace you'll feel. Just rip off the band-aid. Pretend like they weren't sleeping when a phone call wakes them up. I do the opposite and don't answer the call. I then have a lay in for another half an hour before telling them I was asleep. They stare at shit-covered toilet paper to see if they're done wiping. I find it quite gross when people say they don't do this. You're just taking a gamble that you might be walking around with a poopy butthole or what? My question to blind people is, how do you know when you're done wiping? I can feel like I'm good and then take one more swipe just to be sure. Nope, still got a brown crayon down there. Fart in public. It may be discreet, but you've done it. In the beginning of my relationship, I would wait until we walking in heavy traffic and let it go. He heard me once and now every time a bus goes by, he gives me a sideways look. I check to make sure the coast is clear, let loose the crop duster, and then someone materializes behind me, every time. Lie. Everybody lies. Die. Secretly wish certain PPL, move away. Secretly? I wish for lightning to strike people in front of them. Have hero fantasies. I don't know if everyone does this, but I'd like to know. When I read about something horrible, I put on my proverbial cape and fix it. Maybe I am there to see the rape or murder before it happens and stop it. Sometimes I prepare a humble speech for the press as well. I think on some level, it's a coping mechanism. Instead of being hateful and bitter, I fix the problem. I fix nothing, of course, but I'll be able to shake off the feeling of despair for a while. I daydream way too much. Like, live in a separate world with rules and multiple languages and cultures and so on. It's honestly problematic sometimes, and I feel like it has made my anxiety much worse. Always been this way since I was a kid. Probably complain. No one likes a complainer, but everyone I've ever met complains about crap. There are two kinds of people in the world. Those that admit they pee in the shower, and those that lie about it. Yeah, dude, I legit don't pee in the shower. Growing up with slow drains helps, plus I quite literally always go pee before getting in the shower. It's part of the routine such that I don't think about it. No judgment regardless. Seems like the 3RD best place to pee as far as I'm concerned. Even if you hate rich people, even if you loudly say buying lottery tickets is a waste of money, even if you're the most diehard communist, you still fantasize about winning the lottery. Have biased opinions. Unless you've been living in a cave with no outside communication, your opinions are skewed. Search for their ex on Facebook. What does everyone do but won't admit? Leave a comment, and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more videos like this one.